I couldn't be happier to introduce the next guy today. There's people that come into your life and change your life forever. Wow, I just got emotional, I could tell. Don is that guy. Don is that guy. I met with Don. Sit down. I met with Don at, we talked a couple times. He goes, I want to meet you. That's his style, by the way, and that's a big style. He goes, I want to meet you, and I said, I'd love to. So we met at Spring Hill Country Club in Albany, Oregon, and we sat down for a couple hours and had great conversation about EXP. Now, he'd heard about it 3, 4, 5 times, but he wasn't ready, and then I called him at the right time. Right? It wasn't the right things, it wasn't the right stuff, it was the right time, I believe. But I stayed consistent with the follow-up, and maybe somebody else didn't, whatever the case is. And I remember talking to Don, and he goes, and I hope I can share this as well, because I think, to me, it's like, it's on my dream board, it's on my vision board. Don goes, I was kind of a big deal with Keller Williams. He built 10 offices from the ground up, from zero to a full-fledged office, Roseville being one of them, the most profitable in the whole company. End up being part owner of over 30 offices in total, the absolute golden boy at the time. And, it was a tough market thing. We went through a lot of things back in the 2000, 2007, 8 range. And he was kind of refinding himself. And he goes, when I was really on top of my game, my kids were little. They were little. They don't remember that. I want to win when they're here. I want them to see Dad winning now. And that went on my vision board because that's what he wants. That's what I want. And that's what drives me every day when we talk. And we've had battles. We've had battles together, right? This is not easy stuff, building an organization of this size, because you have alpha males and it's a lot of things. But Don Yoakum is very close to my heart. He is, obviously one of the greatest builders in EXP, not just with me, but with anybody. I think him and Tom Davis are going to build the biggest organization in the company. And I'm super proud to be able to announce him and bring him up here. So Don, come on up, brother.
Thank you, Randy. And your timing was amazing, and but also just your approach was really wonderful, and I appreciated it. So my purpose is to share with you, I think, the real story of how one builds a sales organization on this EXP platform. I've been involved, Tom and I together now for 3.5 years or so, and in that time I've learned a lot. But most recently, I've been spending some time reflecting on actually my KW days that Randy was speaking about. And Randy had asked me to speak about what I had learned at KW, because in case you don't know it, Glenn had production teams at KW, and he was able to develop EXP with basically the 2020 hindsight of Keller Williams, which many of us, I think, would agree that at least for 10, maybe 15 years, Keller Williams, in my opinion at least, had the strongest value proposition in the real estate brokerage community. So there's a lot that can be learned from that. So I'm going to start off my story with KW with this special moment I had with Mo Anderson. And it occurred at a mastermind. And Mo somehow, usually there's like 20 people around Mo Anderson, right? But somehow Mo Anderson and I are just sitting there together at this table, and we were in between sessions or something. And she goes, well, Don, do you want me to share a little bit about the beginning of KW with you? I'm like, well, yeah, of course. He goes, and she says, well, Gary is this incredible thinker, right? And I think we all agree he came up with this business model that really revolutionized the real estate industry. And he went out and started franchising it. And when he brought me in, they had 37 franchises. And I took a look at what we had, and it was pretty much a cluster. And so the first thing I did was shut down 15 of those franchises. And what I did is I just looked at who we had gotten in business with, and some of them were good, in fact, okay, and we continue to be in business with some of those people today. But the ones that were not a cultural match for our company, we parted ways. And one thing about Mo is she is not a soft lady. So if you're not in alignment with the right values, then it's not going to be a comfortable environment for you. So those folks left, right? So we have Gary, this brilliant thinker that had brought in to the real estate industry this revolutionary model, and now we have Mo that is ensuring that we're getting in business with the right people. Well, after Mo became involved, that company started growing at literally 40% a year, compounded, and I think Gene tells me when I joined, we had about 6,900 agents, and of course they went on, I think at one point, to reach 180,000. A little tougher now for them, but what's the real number, Gene? 171. Okay. So, I mean, a tremendous run. I think we all have to agree, right? And that, in my opinion, probably would not have happened had Gary not brought Mo in when he did to get us in business with the right people. Okay? Now, the next evolution of that model, though, was putting Mark Willis in place as a CEO. So we had this brilliant business model. We were getting in business with the right people, and now we had what Mark brought is a really intentional way of having system and process with those people. So, and I'll relate to the story when I got into KW in 2000, Wayne Hall had purchased the first franchise in Northern California. Okay, and by the time I met him, which was 10 months in, he was struggling. He had started with 13 agents, and he still had 13 agents. And they were broke, basically. He and Paul Boudier had double capped, so they paid caps in advance for the next year. I recall, actually, and I think you might have bought one of them, but I persuaded 5 of the agents to buy Successories prints that cost $69 so we could actually have pictures on the wall, okay? This is the beginning of Keller Williams Roosevelt. That became the most profitable Keller Williams in the country at one point. At any rate, it wasn't that KW was a bad model. It wasn't that Roseville was a bad market. It was that Wayne was attempting to be a TL, and that's one of the things they tell you at Keller Williams is that when you're the OP, if you don't have a TL, you are the team leader, okay? And he was not suited to that role, okay? But he turned out to be an amazing business partner to me. He was a great OP. 2006, he was awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year award, which is only one person at Keller Williams gets it, okay? And he got it for 2006. And like I said, that market center that he was the OP of became, at one point, the most profitable Keller Williams in the country, okay? Actually, Gene and I mean, Gene is known as the greatest of all time. And I have proven to be a very effective recruiter leader myself. We went and we did Cupertino together. Well, you know, think about this. We had Keller Williams, which was a great model, okay? You got the GOAT and myself, and we damn near failed. We damn near failed in Cupertino, right? Now, if Gene and I had been in Cupertino, I think it would have gone a little different. It wouldn't have been such a rough start, right? But, you know, we found a way between us and with the, you know, the folks that we got in business with, and we made Cupertino happen. But in the meanwhile, what happened at Keller Williams is Mark and the leadership team there started instituting standards for launching franchises, right? So up till that point, they would like look at Gene or someone like myself and go, well, those guys can make it happen. We're giving them a franchise. And they would, okay? And we did, barely, okay? But what happened was KW then said, well, you know, if you're going to do a franchise, here's what we want you to do. We want you to first understand your market. Then we want you to go get 5 mega agents. Our interpretation of that would be an icon level producer. We want you to get 7 additional cappers, 8 additional agents, so a total of 20, and a team leader, which, by the way, these are like Green Beret recruiters. Okay, they don't just like grow on trees, okay? You got to come up with $250,000 and be willing to hand over 25 of it for the franchise fee and sign a lease on a Class A building, okay? This is to make application, okay, guys? And that is for the privilege of building a business where highly likely you're going to lose money, probably about $100,000 for the first year, probably break even about in the second, make back in the third the money you lost in the first, and from there you can go on to building. The average KW maybe earns $250,000 owner profit, $500,000 total profit, okay? The way those businesses are valued is they're valued at about 4 times trailing 12 months earnings. So you're taking a business that's earning $250,000 and you're turning it into $1 million asset. That's not a bad gig. And they persuaded 935 people to do that, okay? And I want you to think about how tough that is, okay? When I first heard, because remember, I started Roseville with Wayne, and then even when we did Cupertino, they didn't have those standards, but they did when we did Palo Alto. And you remember, we built Palo Alto on those standards, and we had a home run market center. So what I thought when I first heard those standards was impossible, I came to actually appreciate those standards. As a matter of fact, I believe if Mark and the leadership team at KW had not put those in, they would not have been able to continue to grow through the crash. But they did, because they were following a system, first of all, a really powerful system with the right people, with the right process, right? Okay, so now along comes Glenn Sanford. Glenn was actually in that system. He had production teams at KW. Part of his motivation was to come, as for many of us, was to create recurring income from profit share. Well, it turns out that turned out to be not that big a deal. It didn't end up being material enough to really dramatically influence behavior. And so while profit share is nice, still get it, like it every 21st of the month, it's not what revenue share is. And that, I don't know that Glenn is necessarily a greater thinker than Gary. It's just Glenn had the benefit of all Gary's thinking, right? And so when Glenn came to forming EXP, I think he took many of the positive elements of KW, and where he saw holes, such as profit share not being material, he put revenue share. And while KW and other companies say that they're agent-centric, as Gene was saying last night, Glenn actually put his money where his mouth was. He made every agent an owner. In fact, you close your first deal at EXP, you become an owner. You get $200 in stock. You cap, you get another 400. You attract someone, another 400. You become an icon, you get, up to 16,000, okay? And we have something like a retirement plan. You get to buy the stock at a discount with your commissions. That's an option, not an obligation. Anyway, tremendous opportunity. And I'm so grateful to Glenn that he made that change and incorporated it into our business model. So, but remember, Glenn, like Gary, is this incredible thinker, right? But I actually think that our Mo Anderson moment is in this room, by the way. Don't run away, Gene. I think our Mo Anderson moment was hiring you. I think it was hiring Gene Frederick. He joined. Yeah. Well, when you chose to join EXP, I think it was a Mo Anderson moment, okay? And the reason why is because Gene has a tremendous ability and influence to bring the right people, okay? And I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's actually the one that came up with the Icon program, okay? Which, if you're an Icon level producer and you're not at EXP, it's like financial malpractice on your family. I mean, literally, okay? So thank you for that. And so the thing is, though, we don't have Mark Willis yet. So I've been thinking a lot about what would Mark have us do to take this even more brilliant idea with the right people and apply the right process. Now, what's, in my opinion, has been happening up till now is this model is so magnificent, and we've been fortunate enough to get in the business with the right people that it was like Gene and I in Cupertino. You know, talent they just find a way of making it happen, okay? But what Mark would want us to do is apply a very intentional process to this. And so what would that look like? I think what he would say is concentrate on hiring the right people. And I think, in my opinion, there's 4 demographics that you want to intentionally pursue. Now, I'm going to say this and also tell you, I think that all the way from brand new agent to retiring agent could be a fit at EXP, okay? It's a great place to be. We've got phenomenal technology. You get stock, okay? But if I'm looking for the ideal hire, okay, I want it to be an icon level producer, right? And so that's my first choice as a productive agent. Now, if I want to have a icon level producer that also can attract and retain people, then I want a production team lead, like a Tom Daves, okay? If I, though, want a business builder that's like Green Beret, recruiter, retainer, I want something like a Keller Williams team leader, okay? It doesn't have to be a Keller Williams team leader, but someone with those qualities, those attributes of attracting and retaining talent, okay? And the fourth and final one that I would have you focus on is a person that has a heart for coaching and has been one of those 3, an icon, a production team lead, or a Keller Williams team leader. That, in my opinion, is the perfect hire. And if Mark were here, he'd say, get that person. And what I can tell you, knowing what I know now, after a little more than 3.5 years experience, if you get that person and you have them follow the system that we have developed for business building, they will build something, an organization of over 500 people in 3 years. Okay, now if this market just absolutely takes a crap, which I'm pretty sure it's going to, it could take 5, okay? But I'm telling you, that person with that behavior set, doing those things, coaching, by the way, one, because, you know, the life of an agent, as I'm sure you all know, your job is never done. There's always another text, an email, a voicemail, a crisis, or $1 million listing appointment to go on, okay? Coaching is intense. When you're coaching, you have to be present, but when you're done, you're done. Okay, and what we need is we need not only someone with great talent, we need someone that's available. And I'm going to tell you the hard work to make this happen. It's 2 hours a day, okay? You got to call for 2 hours a day. Roughly 20 people, call one of those 4 groups, okay? You got to reach about 4 people, and you ought to be booking 1 appointment from that, okay? About 70% of the people that you booked appointments with are going to show up, by the way, right? And after about 90 days, even with that caliber of talent, you'll start attracting 1 person a month, okay? And you're going to start doing what I call multiplication. See, the KW model that I came from, they wanted us to attract 5 and attract 10, actually, and lose 5. So net 5 a month. That's the model at KW. I call that addition, subtraction, okay? What I want for you guys is multiplication, okay? Now, I came into the EXP world with a KW knowledge set. And I did do a lot of addition and subtraction with Dom, right? But of late, and several of you are in this room, we've been sharpening our intention, and now we're going after people that can create multiplication, okay? And here's what I would tell you about that. And yesterday we had a meeting with some independent brokers, and we were just explaining to them the difference between having an independent broker or scaling a sales organization on the eXp platform. And an independent broker, by the way, Sterling, really, you're kind of an anomaly, actually. I would say someone that produces at your level should not be able to grow something more than 15 agents, because you're icon level producer as well. To do that, to get to, say, 40 agents, you'd have to normally ratchet your production back, right? So you're one of those strange ones like us, okay? So, but what I told them, I go, think about your company, think about taking, let's say, 20 agents and having that be a foundation, like a platform on our eXp platform. And what I can tell you is that it's not a 10x, guys, okay? We did the math yesterday, okay? If you attract 20 people of quality, okay, they don't all, some of them can be new, some of them will be icons, some of them will be average, okay, but just quality folks, you can expect in a window somewhere between 5 and 7 years that your organization, if you have attracted a business builder, 1 out of every 20 of those quality people, you can expect to have an organization of 2,500. Okay, a 7-figure recurring income. We did Gene's numbers last night. He attracted 100 people. Okay, if we 125x'd his efforts, he'd have an organization of 12,500 people today. I think it's 16,600 and some change, if I'm not mistaken, huh, Gene? Okay, so more than 125x, okay? And so that is the opportunity that you guys have, is that if you will, with intention, go look to attract those 4 demographics. And this is not, like for us team leaders at KW, we were just talking about that. I was talking about that with Jackie. I mean, you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Most people don't survive in that role 2 years, okay? But in this thing, you've got 7 people with a vested interest in your success, okay? They have got your back in a way that I have never seen in any company, in any industry, okay? So we are going to require that you tee it up, okay? But we'll help you bring it home, okay? And so that's the way this system works. It's magnificent. So grateful to Glenn for creating it. And what I want you to think about, though, is how can I take that great idea with great people and apply the right process? And I'll close with this last thought. When I was a TL, I'll tell you, what the number one challenge I had was? Who was I going to call? Man, I had to get 10 appointments every single week, right? Because the model, in that model, you basically recruited the same per month that you met with per week, because you'd meet with people an average of twice, and you would recruit half of them, okay? And I can only recruit to about 20 or 30-minute drive from my office. And so at some point, you begin to scramble for who you're going to call. And that isn't going to be our problem, guys, okay? For over a year now, we have been building a database of top producers across the country. So those icon producers, if you're in this organization, you're not going to be lacking for people to call. We know at least 70% of the icons in the country, and we have them in our database, okay? So there's no reason why you can't. We also have a list of all the Keller Williams team leaders, active and past, 1,156 past team leaders, okay? No reason why you can't call those. We could do a better job with production team, and coaches, one thing at a time here. We'll work on that. Okay? But my point is that you won't lack for the ammo, okay? But you're going to have to pull the trigger, okay? Because this is not one of those gigs that you can mail in, okay? This is not, oh, well, recruit 5, and then they're going to recruit 5, and then they're going to recruit 5, and you're going to have 155. It doesn't work that way, guys. Okay, what I've come to learn in this is a lot less like network marketing. It's a lot more like building a brokerage. You're building your sales organization on the EXP platform, and in order to do so, you are either going to have to be a leader, become a leader, or partner with a leader and do the work. But if you follow that process with this incredible system that we have, you're going to be able to reach, well, I'll say, some of us in the room have got 7-figure recurring incomes, but you at least can reach a $250,000 recurring income. That's not a bad gig, okay? And so I hope that you will take that opportunity. We look forward to supporting you in that. And that's what I got to say for today.